an MRI brain, so as you all know, the first, when it comes to routine brain plane planning, you will plan axial sections, parallel to a line, imaginary line joining the genu and splenia of the corpus callosum. And you plan sagittal sections parallel to the interhemispheric fissure. Fine, this everybody is aware. Right? So in brain, most of the times it is like this, whatever the pathology. Even if it's a pituitary, you will still do your axials and sagittals in this fashion. But suppose a patient is very uncooperative, you still have to give some images for the patient's ultimate management. In such cases, if your system supports, you have this motion correction softwares available like Propeller or Blade sequences, please go for it, and please go for fast sequences. It still gives the same kind of information, right? You need to justify the study, you need to give some sort of detail for the consultant, right? And only sort of an oblique planning will be required in hippocampal imaging. Suppose you're doing an epileptic patient or a seizure protocol, you will have to focus on the hippocampus. So this is the hippocampus on all three different planes, and you need to plan sections. Okay, so this is what it is. So in your sagittal, look at the long axis of the hippocampus. Okay, and the most important sequence will be your high resolution coronal T2 and a coronal 3D SPGR. Now, you need to plan sections perpendicular to the body of the hippocampus. Now, this information will be useful for beginners because who are yet to start practicing doing an MR, right? And you need to check in the other two planes also correspondingly. Now, if you look at this, you can see the hippocampus image. You can see this is the roof. This is the hippocampus. This is the amygdala, which forms the roof of the hippocampus. And you have certain landmarks like the basilar artery to the interpeduncular system. And you have, when you scroll through the images, you will be able to see the hippocampal tail at the level of the superior colliculus, right? So this is one modification when you're doing a brain protocol, particularly hippocampal imaging. What do you do after that? Right, you do a volumetric sequence, that is a T1 weighted point gradient sequence in the coronal plane. Ultimately, you need to transfer the images to a workstation and start tracing the hippocampus in the subsequent slices. And ultimately, when you submit, the volume will be displayed. So this information is important, particularly when they're looking for volume loss in a particular hippocampus. If a patient is throwing continuous seizures and they want to know if there is a volume loss, so mesial temporal sclerosis or whatever it is, you need to complete the post-processing and push it to PACS. Okay? The next protocol,